Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you listening. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. That's tacmd.com, tacmd.com. It's Team Alpha Charlie. That's where the TAC comes from. Adam is a Navy veteran, now doing his best for the real estate market. Recently out in Nevada, so he's not home right now. He's out celebrating his grandmother's 90th birthday, and I believe his father's 70th birthday.
Well, happy birthday, too.
And he's out in Las Vegas, so don't lose too much money out there, my friend. One day I want to go out to Vegas. I haven't been out there. It's the 4-hour flight that bothers me. I was out there when I was like 12. My parents took me. Went to Circus. That's all I saw. I'm not
a gambler, so it doesn't really appeal that much, and it's hot.
Yeah, it is, but like I think the atmosphere, like walking down, seeing all the lights, and it's kind of like if you haven't been to Times Square and you want to go see Times Square and see the lights just for the lights, but you don't want to get mugged, right? Like, you're not going for the mugging, you're going to see the lights. Like, so if I go to Las Vegas, I might not be going for the gambling. I'm going for the lights. I want to see the show. I want to see the atmosphere.
Well, apparently Nashville is becoming the Vegas of the East.
I went to Nashville one time. I did. I feel it was more hype than deliver. Like, I went with my wife before kids, so we were free roaming at that time. I didn't see the appeal. Now, if you're a country music fan, like there were a bunch of bars that had live music. So if that's your kind of like live music thing, I hate live music. I don't want to go to concerts. My wife loves concerts, but she's not a big country music fan. I'm
not a big live music fan. I do like country music, but not enough to go to a place to listen to it. Mm-hmm. I also don't like. So when you go to a bar and they have a musician, and this doesn't matter if it's a big name or just a guy with a guitar. I'm going to sound so old. It's so loud. Like, it doesn't need to be that loud. Like, I can hear you. Everyone can hear you, but I can't hear myself. And it's one thing if it's like a dance, like people are dancing and making all, like that's one thing to be loud because the music has to go over that. But if you're like at the local pub, does your amp really need to be that loud? You know, you're only covering 1,000 square feet. Does it need to be set to Madison Square Garden sound levels? And, you know, I can't carry on a conversation because I'm not there to hear you, the music guy. I'm there to talk to the people I'm with. And if not, then I might as well just go, like, get takeout and go at home if I'm not going to talk to the people I'm with. So
this is going to sound awful. That's why I hate going to weddings. The music is so fucking loud.
Yeah, does it have to be like, you know, nightclub sound levels?
I mean, I get it because people are dancing at a wedding.
Yeah.
Right? I get that part of it. But there's also people schmoozing.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing some family you haven't seen in a while, catching up, saying hi. You can't hear shit.
Yeah.
And you're right. Maybe it's because I'm old. But, like, I feel like usually about halfway through the wedding party, I'm usually in, like, the other room with, like, the couches.
Right.
And the lounge chairs or whatever it is.
I always find myself on the deck.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's always too hot in there. And this isn't just me being old. This is me in my 20s, too. Right. It's too hot. It's too crowded. Especially a nice summer wedding. If they have an outdoor area, there's an outdoor bar. Mm-hmm. And then I used to smoke, so I'd be out there smoking cigarettes. But I quit smoking, so like even post-smoking, I still find myself outside. So
I bet people that quit smoking, it might not be the nicotine withdrawal that gets them. It's the activity withdrawal.
Yeah. So when I tried to quit a whole bunch of times, and prior to being successful, it was always like I worked at a hospital. So healthcare professionals at a hospital on midnights are notorious smokers, like all of them. And I don't want to say now. We're going back 20 years,
Right.
So like you'd go out and like the nurses would come down. We all had like the established break time because like in my job I'd go wherever I wanted to go, and do whatever I needed to be. But I wasn't bound to a floor. Well, they were bound to a floor and they had like set because someone had to be up there. So like they'd come down for their break at say 2:30 in the morning, and if you wanted to see that person, you had to meet them there at the smoke spot at 2:30 in the morning. So like that's when you got to see everyone. So then when I quit, well, I didn't want to be around the cigarettes, but I still wanted to see everyone. So like I'd stand there like spitting sunflower seeds or chewing gum or pacing myself or like scratching myself like Dave Chappelle's character. And then next thing I was like, someone, you want to smoke? Like, yep, I'll take one. So there is definitely something to like the routine and the habit and the social aspect of it. I think now that smoking levels are really going down, it probably isn't so much.
I see more people vaping than I do with a cigarette.
Yeah.
I also saw the price of cigarettes at the local 7-Eleven. $13. And I didn't mention the change part of it. It's probably closer to 14.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was for a pack or a 2-pack or what.
That's probably one. I'm sure that was one.
I mean, they're essentially pricing people out of smoking.
Yeah.
Whereas vaping, I think, is much cheaper.
I mean.
But then you have to walk around with that stupid thing.
The douche flute. Well, there's some that are discreet that just look like a pen, or I mean, they even made some that look like an actual cigarette. But then they have these people, and it's like it's this isn't mine. I heard it somewhere, but it's like it looks like you're sucking a robot's dick. It's like this contraption that comes in a case. And there's so many memes with like this like white dude with like long hair that you'd find at like Comic-Con or Renfest. And he's like, like the douche flute. Allow me to play you the song of my people.
You just hear a robot in the background going, Oh, man. Speaking of health, we're going to stay on the topic of health because there's some, I was going to call it massive news, but that's a little over the top.
Significant?
Yeah, so significant news. So we put out an episode 2 weeks ago talking about what was to come. We said we would update people in a month. We're going to update them now. Timing worked out. So recently, and so we're recording this on May 26th. This is coming out May 27th if I put it out on time. May 28th if I don't. So we had mentioned you were going under the knife.
Yeah.
Or I guess in this case, under the scope.
Yeah.
For bariatric surgery.
Yep.
All right, got the right one.
Yeah. Gastric sleevectomy, I believe is I should know the term, but.
So this was the sleeve.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and I thought too, prior to actually, learning more about the procedure, I actually thought that they put a sleeve over your stomach. And I imagined it like, it looks like a honeycomb weave type of thing that stretches out.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get fruit in it or something at the supermarket. I thought it was that would fit over your stomach to reduce the capacity. It's not. Essentially, your stomach has, there's almost like a flexible part to it that can expand, and they remove that part of your stomach. So, I even tightened that thing up.
Yeah. Microphone issues there for a minute.
It kind of flopped off to the side. But anyway, so they
flopped off to the side.
Yeah. So, do that. Do with that as you will.
Yeah, my bad on that. I could. Took me a minute, but then I was like, oh.
But so essentially, they removed part of your stomach in the procedure. So
what is bypass then? Is that when they just cut off, like they basically leave it there, but they kind of just like sew it shut?
Yeah, so bypass, and I didn't really do a lot of research into bypass because that's not what I got, but bypass, for one, is more effective with women. Sleeve is more effective with men, for whatever reason. Bypass, they don't remove anything, but they kind of like, that I know of, but they might, but they remove I think, part of the small intestine so that there's less absorption of calories going on in that section. So, like, it'll go, rather than, say it's, I'm not sure how long an intestine is, but I think it's pretty long. Say it's 12 feet long. They'll go to make it 6 feet long.
Gotcha.
So that it's less is able to be absorbed. That's how I understand it. Again, despite our Twitter handle, I'm not a medical doctor. The Twitter handle is.
That's suspect.
So, but yeah, so they did it. The procedure's laparoscopic, so there's no one big, huge incision. It's not like they open you up. You join the zipper club.
Right.
They do it around my belly button. I've got 6 little incisions where they went in to do it. They go in. They apparently fill you full of gas, which I'll get into later because that makes the recovery interesting. They then remove that part of the stomach. So my stomach's like 20% of the size that it was prior to the procedure. They use a robot. It's robot assisted. So, of course, when I told my 7-year-old this, he thought there's going to be an actual robot, like C-3PO, or like in the. So he wanted to know about the robot that was in there.
I think you should have probably ran with that.
Yeah, which made perfect sense.
Right.
C-3PO MD was assisting.
Sure.
But yeah. So it's they do that. Then you stay in the hospital overnight. When I first came out of surgery, and I always think surgeries, I had surgery on my arm. I was expecting that route. Now, a surgery on your extremity is a lot different than a surgery. It's a lot less invasive than a surgery on your abdomen. On your extremity, like, they gave me a nerve block, so I couldn't feel anything. And, like, my arm was just hanging like dead weight. Then once the nerve block wears off, it's like when you fall asleep on your hand, it gets tingly, and as all the sensation starts coming back and the movement, well, it didn't hurt. It was a straightforward procedure. I was good. But the thing is with surgery is, like, you go in and everyone's like moving around you, and the OR, the operating room is super, super cold. Like, it's like when we went in there, I was like, wow, it's cold in here. Like, it's almost like going into a refrigerator.
I'm surprised you were still awake at that point.
Yeah, I moved over onto the table.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I was helping them, but I don't want that. I mean, that's a lot of weight to move over there. So,
like, they haven't done it. In this surgery, the people that are doing the surgery, you don't think they've done that?
Oh, I'm sure. There's probably even bigger ones than me.
Right.
So, but they put the mask on you, and they're talking to you, and the one doctor was like, we're trying to, like, super oxygenate, get pure oxygen in your lungs, because then they have to do they trach everyone, or they put a tube down to maintain your airway. Mm-hmm. So they do all that, but this one, they said exhale, and then the anesthesiologist kept talking about the number that I was putting up. He's like, damn, 2,100. Let's see if you can go for 22. Well, it became a game. Well, essentially, I was just like helping them along, just taking deep breaths, and then lights out.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, someone's waking you up, and then all of a sudden, like, I felt like someone had blown up a giant balloon inside of my abdomen and chest. Like, it was painful how much pressure I felt trying to get out, but I couldn't burp, because now my stomach was just cut open, so it's healing. So there's some issues there. I couldn't swallow a bunch of air and burp, so I was absolutely miserable for probably the first 12 hours post-op. That night I started to feel better. I moved over to the bed. So yeah, it's been, and now it's just, I have some soreness in my abdomen from because they go through your abdominal wall. So there's going to be, like, when I sneeze or cough,
right.
Whenever I bend over to pick something up, like, oh, I felt that, but that's getting better and better each day as it heals.
Well, you figure, because they did have to cut through muscle,
yeah,
to get to the stomach,
right.
That's probably what the soreness is from, because that's going to take a little bit to heal.
Yeah,
not that you're going to be like, oh, this is awful. You're going to be like, I'm fucking sore.
Yeah, like, main thing, like, when my youngest, because he still, like, wants to run and jump and into me and do all that stuff. And the puppy, weighs 50 pounds, like she'll run and want to like, launch herself into me. It's like, no, puppy, don't do that. So those two are the ones that don't get it. My youngest will kind of like he'll punch me in the stomach, like he'll go to play. I'm like, no, don't do that. And then he remembers not to do it. He'll always ask me, like, he was eating Oreos yesterday. He's like, Dad, you want an Oreo? Like, trying to be polite. I was like, dude, stop. They were eating corn dogs by me. I love corn dogs. And my middle son, he's eating corn dogs. I'm like, dude, get away from me with the food. So, because post-op, I am on a clear fluids diet for a week. So, that's cute. But again, I don't feel hungry.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, eventually you're going to have to be able to be around that food.
Yeah. Oh, I was this weekend. So,
but I mean, but the other part of it is you're going to have to be around it and not want it. Now, the other funny part of that is when you can eat food again, even if you wanted it, you would probably take one bite and be like, if you took a second with how small your stomach is, like from other people that have had these types of surgeries before, they say basically they like want to throw up.
Yeah.
Like it's a very limited, it's a fine line between hungry, full, and throw up time.
Yeah. And for me, it happened with water. So it was Friday. So now this is surgery day. So D-Day +2. I was at the tot lot talking to some of the neighbors, and I just had my thing of water with me, and I took a gulp like I normally would. Half of it went down. The other half was still in my mouth, and my stomach was like, nope, full. And so I just spit the water out. It was like, oh, wow, I got to like really think about even how much water I take in. So, as a gulp, I'd pound so much water, it was nothing. Now, like, I'm never shotgunning a beer again. Not that I should. I'm I'm in my 40s, but
that brings up another topic though, because you're still currently the weight that you are, the body size that you are. For now, you still need X amount of water for hydration purposes.
Yep.
So what is the solution? Is it just you have to take small sips?
Yep. So essentially the surgeon the office provided a step-by-step instruction. And essentially it's like, get this intake in by this time, concentrate on getting small sips. Like, don't think, normally the average person will not drink any water at all, and then they'll feel thirsty, and then they'll drink a bunch of water. I have to drink it continuously, so I have to keep, so rather than like a summer thunderstorm in the afternoon, I have to be like just a soaking rain throughout the day.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty easy. I can eat sugar-free Jell-O. I don't even like Jell-O, but I eat it because it's like eating something.
Jell-O creeps me out.
It is weird. I can eat...
I'll eat it, but I'm like weirded out while I do it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I like it. Okay, this is okay. Like, I like the taste. The texture freaks me out. Mm-hmm. And then when I see it move, weirds me out.
Yeah.
I don't really feel one way or another about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, who made this? And then you hear the rumor that gelatin is like horse hooves
or bones.
Yeah. Do I really?
I'm not thinking about any of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah. Well, someone tells you can't forget.
But another thing I found, I can drink Gatorade and Gatorade zero sugar and to keep electrolytes, and chicken broth, bone broth. So I've really kind of gotten into bone broth because bone broth actually has protein in it.
Yeah.
So
I found there's a big difference in flavor. There is a strain, and maybe it was just the one that I had. It was like a strange flavor to the bone broth. It was like I don't even know. It was something like it hit your tongue and you were like, ooh, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. This is different.
Yeah, because you're expecting a certain thing.
Right.
You're expecting you're expecting like soup or salty, like and then chicken broth doesn't have much flavor to it, but like chicken bone broth does, and it's not like an intense flavor. It's just there, and you're kind of like, oh wow, what So and it has a different feel in the mouth.
Yeah,
but I like it. So I bought this little supermarket by us. They have the craft beer version of bone broth that comes in a glass jar and costs $7.95 for a pint.
Is it the one with like the paste in it, kind of like, and then you mix it with water?
No, this is all. You just have to shake it up good because it has sediment at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
But it's good. Like I drank it. I bought regular chicken broth, like the Swanson chicken broth in the cardboard box too. So that's kind of where I get like when I want to eat something like mealtime. I drink one of those. But I have to drink it slow. I pour 8 ounces of it. It takes me a half hour to drink it.
Here's an old ethnic tip. There's a brand that's in every grocery store called College Inn.
Okay.
So not like collagen,
but College Inn, INN. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. That's the one we always use.
Okay.
That's an old school. Now maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm making this shit up. But basically, all my aunts and my grandmother and all the people that used to make all the Armenian food with that stuff, that was the only brand they would use.
They swore by it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I use.
I have Aldi brand currently.
Nothing wrong with Aldi.
Aldi is my jam, So when I go to the Aldi up in Severna Park, there are people hopping out of nice cars going into Aldi. So it's either they're people with money who are tired of paying ridiculous prices at the grocery store, or there are people who don't have money because their money is going to pay for their ridiculous car payment.
Very true. or the car is 12 years old. They got it for $3,000, or they got it for $5,000, and they're spending $8,000 in repairs.
Yeah,
like some other dumbass we know. Also known as me.
Don't forget the guy that spent $30,000 on it. It's got 180,000 miles on it, and they're paying 30% interest.
Yes,
there's also that person out there too.
Well, yes. One payment would have paid off an entire car.
Right.
That they could be driving around till it died. Nope. But got to have that 2010 Mercedes E350.
Spending money they don't have to impress people they don't know.
That's right.
But yeah. So getting back to the whole procedure, so when I started because I get people want to know the numbers, and I like to talk about them because soft brag.
Well, let's start. Let's give the whole scenario.
Okay.
So when we first started talking about, yes, we're going down this path, like probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, what was your number?
447.
Okay. Before the surgery, so we're going to say everything you tried up until then, what was the number before the surgery?
So I got down to I got down to 399.
Okay.
So I broke through the 4 barrier.
Yeah.
But I didn't stay there long.
Okay.
And I was using phentermine, things like I even tried the GLP-1 route at a time last summer. And then my last start of phentermine, I never broke 413. I went to 413 and just sat there.
Okay.
So.
And then what was it the day before you went in?
So
surgery.
Yeah, so to go to you'll see heaviest weight, like when people like on the support groups I'm in, you'll see heaviest weight, surgery weight, current weight, and then sometimes people put goal. So heaviest weight 447 is the number I used because that's kind of what it was when I went in on January 30th to start the process. Surgery weight was, I actually have a spreadsheet of it because I'm a nerd. So just give me 1 second. I'll pull it up because I don't want to give false information.
No, this is an accurate this is a factual podcast.
Always. So surgery weight was 421. So that was 447. So 26 pounds I lost on the pre-op diet. And the pre-op diet, I think the last show I had just started it, or was a week into it. And essentially the pre-op diet is you're just going down to you're eating meat and vegetables essentially. You're not messing around with processed food, no added sugar. If you want to put a label on, I guess you label as paleo. It's not quite as strict as Whole30. You're not making your own mayonnaise, but you're still watching. Like for breakfast, I'd have 2 eggs. You're trying to get 4 to 6 grams of protein in 4 times a day. If you feel hungry, you can eat cheese, you can eat lunch meat, things like that. But like, you're not eating chicken nuggets. We had a baseball game, got back late, went through McDonald's. I got a double quarter pounder with no ketchup and took the bun off of it. So that was to make it as, it was actually an interesting way to eat it. Not interesting, but when you take the bun out, you taste the flavors of the meat. It's really salty. Like, I'd never noticed it before because I would just inhale it.
Salt's a preservative.
Yeah. And, well, there's that, I think it was a Swedish dude that bought one and just left it there and it didn't decompose.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing shade on it. That food has a point and it is delicious. That's why they sell so much of it.
But it's not cheap anymore.
No. Lindsay took the kids through there yesterday because baseball dominates everything. She ran them through. I actually ordered it for them on the app, and it was for the 4 of them was $47. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So,
I will say that ever since I saw the reporting about the pink slime, I haven't taken my kids there since.
Wow. What's your fast food of choice?
Not to sound cliche, Chick-fil-A.
I like Chick-fil-A.
Or we'll go to like Chipotle, like places where you can, like, don't get me wrong, I know there's some processing of stuff going on there, but at least with Chipotle, you see them cutting it up, you see them cooking it.
You see an actual chicken thigh there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, or Five Guys. Like, they don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually any better.
Five Guys is a freaking car payment sometimes.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to compare it by cost.
Yeah.
I was just trying to compare it as far as like I feel like whatever McDonald's was doing, Burger King was probably doing, Wendy's was probably doing.
No, Wendy's is all fresh, never frozen.
Yeah, but it could be fresh slime. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen that marketing side of shit that you can make anything sound amazing.
Yeah.
So like we just like, so like if I go to like, I'm a sucker for Arby's fries though. Right.
Okay. You like the curly ones?
I love the curly, spicy.
Yeah.
Like they put whatever. And no one else is doing it like them in that fast food arena. Oddly enough, Sheetz does curly fries too. I just like curly fries. I don't know what it is. I like curly fries. Anyway, so if I go, like, I would go to Arby's, just get the fries.
Okay.
I won't get the beef and like.
Oh, but if you like,
I like beef and cheddars.
You like gyros, gyro.
Yeah.
I love them.
Not so much.
They have one and it's delicious.
Okay, so anyway,
So surgery weight was 421. Interestingly enough, I came out of surgery and I weighed myself the next day. Now, I weighed myself when I got home. I always weigh myself in the morning, generally after my morning glory, to make sure like all the tanks are empty.
Sure.
But I just stepped on the scale and I was at 426, so I gained 5 pounds. But
it's probably the gas, though.
It's probably the gas, and then your body has an inflammatory reaction to surgery because it's thinking, oh crap, someone just stuck a robot in me,
right.
or C-3PO just stabbed me. But so then the next day I went to started going back down again. So the very next day was 424, and now I'm down to 411. So it's been over the 3 weeks. It'll be 4 weeks on. No, it'll be 3 weeks on. Coming up this coming Wednesday.
But when was the surgery?
Surgery was on the 21st.
21st. So we're only 5 days from that.
Yeah.
And you went from 423.
Or 421 at surgery date to 411.
So that's still 10 pounds in 5 days.
Yeah.
That's how I would equate it. Like I wouldn't go to like the 426 with the gas and all that stuff. Like, okay, where were you after everything settled out?
Yeah.
Or so before you were 421, now we're 5 days away. All the gas is out, 411.
Yeah.
That's the That's the progress I would start from. Like I wouldn't go back and bump it up with the gas weight in there too.
Right. Yeah, and inflammatory weight and all that stuff.
Then you're just trying to inflate the weight loss number to kind of humble brag.
Yeah. Which, yeah. And,
but the real number is still 447.
Right.
That's the original number.
Yeah.
Like I go back to what your buddy told you. It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. And I will say this. I always looked at this procedure as cheating when I see people do it. And mainly that was just me throwing shade because I didn't have the balls to go through with it. It's not cheating. Like there are people that have this procedure, and I pray that I'm not one of them, and it's going to take discipline to not be one of them. There are people that have this procedure that have to go back and have revisions. One and done, man. That was enough for me. I don't need to go do that again. I don't have the desire to do that again. So I will gladly stay, keep up with stay on the path, because deviations. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to be a saint when it comes to it, but I think the big deviations, when you have to be mindful, and the best way it was described to me is it's a tool, not a fix.
Right. Because at some point, your stomach is going to stretch again.
Yeah.
And you're still going to be around those corn dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to still be able to say, you know what? The corn dog isn't for me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you a good example of rebound weight. So my brother, he initially started with the lap band. Lap band did not work for him. Mm-hmm. So he had to have that pulled out, and they did the sleeve. And he lost a shit ton of weight. I want to say he lost close to 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, noticeable difference, like especially in his face.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could kind of see the loose skin, like,
yeah,
goddamn, you're old.
Yeah.
So I got to make fun of him a little bit for being old. Because he and I are 7 years apart. So he's about 52.
Right.
Although now he's 53.
So now he's...
Wait. No, he had a birthday, I didn't. So now it's 7 years. So I'm 45. He's 52.
Okay.
So he just turned 52.
Yeah.
But like you can kind of tell, like he's got kind of like, now he didn't look, this is weird. He didn't look as old when he was heavier.
Yeah, because I always say the fat stretches out the wrinkles.
Right. But now you can kind of start seeing it a little bit more. Now, don't get me wrong. I think over time, the skin will kind of like, and not all of it, but the collagen in your skin will kind of tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So some of the loose skin won't be loose anymore. But he has so ever since the 100, he's gained some weight back, because now he's starting to eat like he used to a little bit.
Yeah.
Like some of those old habits creep back in because like, well, now I can.
Yeah.
And so, and I and again, this is not a factual podcast, so I'm going to throw something out there. This is where I think GLP-1s can be helpful. So after the surgery, you've lost all the weight, right? The biggest benefit, in my opinion, to the GLP-1 is that it adds in the full hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And I again, not factual. This is there is no MD after my name. There is no PhD. There's none of that shit.
The DDS.
Yeah, no. This is just random bullshit thoughts. Logical thinking. I do think some people are overweight because they don't have that hormone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tastes good. Eat.
We're wired for it,
because I want that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
For whatever that feeling is that is on my tongue, that goes down my throat, whatever that is that makes me feel good. I want that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And if I don't have to stop, why would I stop? I'm going to keep giving myself the dopamine hit. And yes, you can overcome it with willpower. However, let's say you can turn on the full hormone.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that actually tells you you're full. Okay. Now imagine you went through the surgery, you lost the weight quick. You lost 100 pounds in a year. But old habits are creeping in because you can.
Yeah.
Right? But the GLP-1, now you're starting to take it, low dose. It tells you when you're full. And now you don't have as much of a rebound.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a rebound. When you go from eating nothing to eating something, there's going to be a rebound.
And even when you do it without a surgical intervention or without a pharmacological intervention. When you do it, say you just do it by, hey, I'm not going to eat garbage anymore. I'm going to eat good food. I'm going to measure my portions.
That's the willpower method.
Yeah,
sure.
There's even then still, there's going to be a rebound then as well, because you can only go down so far.
Correct.
And then after that, when you start seeing because right now my huge motivation, my stupid dogs wake me up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. They don't care. And it's not it's just the young one. The old one, he'll sleep all day. But when she gets up, he's like, ooh, there's going to be food. So he gets up too. But standing on that scale and seeing a drop, that's what, when I don't want to get up and deal with the dogs, I'm like, oh, well, I'll get up and then I'll step on the scale and see some results. Well, eventually those results stop being there. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to eat the whatever. And you go up a pound, go up a pound, go up a pound. So yeah, there's a rebound in there. And I think you also have to give yourself some grace though too.
Sure.
And say okay, I am a person and there are, I'm a imperfect man. I'm weak. I'm going to eat the corn dog.
But it's not, so I'm not just talking about just the corn dog.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the 3 corn dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the bourbon or the beer. I think I'm attributing a lot of so far my progress to just not drinking.
Right.
But another cool thing is the first couple of days into it, when I stopped drinking, I woke up, I was like, wow, I feel really good. Why is that? It's maybe because you didn't drink, a couple glasses of bourbon and 4 beers last night, dumbass. Maybe that's why you feel good.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was funny. There's always the studies that saying some alcohol a day is good for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's bullshit.
So when I was speaking to the nutritionist, because part of the process of this procedure, you have to meet with a nutritionist, and I was talking about that, and she said, well, yeah, there's benefits if you're doing everything else right.
Correct.
But that's not you say that's like saying, there's benefits to nicotine,
right,
and ignoring all of the bad parts of smoking,
right.
So that's kind of how she put it. It made a lot of sense. So yeah, there are benefits. You have nicotinic receptors in your body, but there's benefits, increased focus and all this other stuff that come with nicotine. Mm-hmm. But you can't use that as an excuse to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day,
right, because
there's so much bad that comes with it. And when you really boil it down, Andrew Huberman does a great podcast about it. I think I've spoken about it before. The slight benefits of alcohol consumption don't outweigh all the bad stuff that comes with it.
There's probably a really fine line. It's probably an ounce of alcohol per this amount of weight
per
is
this
benefit.
Amount of time. Yeah,
but most people are probably not doing that. They're
I wasn't
going over, right?
Yeah.
So you went over the benefit amount into the detriment amount, right?
Right. Crushing 2 fists of bourbon over a weekend probably was in excess of the benefit.
Probably.
And the thing is, I'm not going to be a teetotaler. I'm not going to be no one should drink ever. No. And then what I've also heard is one of the benefits of this is you become a super lightweight. So all of a sudden I'm going to be a cheap date.
But also, it's going to be quite a while until you can probably drink again.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the procedure itself. And by that time, it's one of those things where if you realize, wait, I really don't want to do this.
Yeah. Then
it might be something you just cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Not on purpose, but just because,
Yeah.
It's sort of if it wasn't the feeling you were enjoying, if it's just that, okay, I want to, this is my routine.
Yeah.
And now it's not your routine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Routine is a very powerful thing.
It is.
I mean, they always talk about, especially in children, it takes 3 days to create a routine in a child. That's it. If you want your kid to go to bed at a certain time, you do it 3 days in a row, and then that's when they're ready for bed on day 4. They'll want to go to bed at that time. Now, I'm not saying that, but it's one of those things where you say, okay, time for bed. Generally, within about 30 minutes of that, they're almost out.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest was like that. If I got to 9:30 with my oldest, she was ready to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, sometimes she would just fall asleep where we were.
Yeah,
she was like a robot. and same with the younger one. The younger one, she would make it to about 8:30, but as soon as she hit the bed, she was out.
Yeah.
But that was something like we made sure when they were really young that we stuck to a pretty strict routine. Like nap time was nap time, bedtime was bedtime. And that helped us go along the way. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, kids are kids. I mean, there's some nights when, or colicky or whatever, it happens. Like, I'm not saying it works for everybody, but for the most part, with human psychology and whatnot, because, you know, I'm a psychologist.
Is that what the PhD is in?
Yeah. The fact that I took the psychology class at community college because I couldn't pass it at my actual college, along with the sociology class that I took at community college because I couldn't pass it at real college. I think of real college. Community college is real college, folks. I promise. Yeah. I'm not just. In fact, I'm a big proponent of community college, but I did think it was funny that I had to drop out of both classes at my 4-year school. Now hey, look, you know what I'm going to say is the teacher over there. Shame on them.
Yeah, they failed you.
Because I went to the community college, and you know what? Maybe the community college actually had the better teacher, and that's why I passed.
I'm going to go with that.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
So, yay community college for having the better teacher.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Much more efficient.
Much more. Didn't have the indoctrination back then. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They weren't trying to tell me all the bad things that the white man did.
Right.
Which they did. I mean, everyone's done bad stuff.
Yeah. Don't
look too far in the past because everyone's done some bad shit. But anyway, no. So the human psychology of things, like if you've never taken a human psychology course or sociology, take them both together. Mm-hmm. It makes things make a lot of sense. Yeah.
I was really interested in that field in college. I took a lot of classes in both psychology and it's so. I think it's so cool. There's just no money in it.
There is if you have for psychologists or in therapy. If you have your own private practice, there's money in that.
Yeah, those
sociology,
guys,
no,
right. But like I always remember the girls in class that would be like, "I'm a double major in criminal justice and psychology, and I'm going to be an FBI profiler." You're not. There's like 4 of them in the nation, full time. You know, like you're. Yeah. That's sorry.
It's interesting. Like you understand, and again, I mean, I took one class. I'm not trying to say I'm an expert, right? But I do feel like the intro class at least gives you an insight into it. Like, don't get me wrong. Therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, those people, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's some actual shit going on over there. And I'm not trying to say I'm on a level. I'm not. They're on a level. I'm not. I'm in the basement.
Yeah.
All right. That's the level. I'm in the basement level. If there's lower than the basement, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay. But it does give you a little bit of an understanding into, especially for me, it was more the sociology class, where you just kind of understand a little bit more of human nature.
Yeah.
And for those people that say, like, you go to liberal arts college, why are we going to take a sociology class? Because it's fucking helpful in life.
Yeah.
It'll help you in your profession down the road.
Because everything you're going to do, unless you're like in a strictly technical profession, everything you do, whether it's business or education, is going to help you understand how people work.
Right. You're going to have to work with people.
Yeah.
Right. At the very least, it's just going to help you understand others. Even if you're a computer science person, you write some code, you're going to have to explain that code to someone who doesn't know how to code shit.
Right.
So this will help you explain it to them. All right. And I don't even know where I fucking started with this shit.
That's the worst part.
So what I was saying was, because like when you wake up, when you were waking up with your dogs, you get on the scale, you see that lower number. Mm-hmm. That is a dopamine boost for the rest of your day. Mm-hmm. My mood, I tried not to let it. But if I went down a pound or 2 from the day or 2 days before, I don't know, man. It's almost like you felt lighter.
Yeah, but it also makes not eating the corn dog a little easier.
Right. I don't want to unfuck what I just did.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to fuck this up.
Yeah. So it's like, and I used to do really good during the week, and then just completely shit the bed on the weekends because it was like Friday, and now the pool's open. So it was like Friday night at the pool. So it's time to pound 15 beers on the pool deck. And then it's a pizza for me. And then the next day it's, okay, now we're going to do Saturdays. So it's like running back and forth to baseball games. Oh, we got a doubleheader. Or at a tournament, we have 2 hours to kill in between. Let's roll the let's roll through a drive-through because we got to get food in these kids. And, I need to eat 2 large fries and a, Big Mac. So, like, let's do that. And then afterwards, like, oh, let's go cook on the grill. And, it's a scientific fact that food tastes better when there's an open beer next to the to the food on the grill. Mm-hmm. So you've got that going. And it's just like, okay, but you need all that stuff. And then at the end of the day, Sunday is like, well, that's relaxation day, which is, sit on the porch and watch the O's lose and, drink beer and crush popcorn. And then the next morning, Monday, you stand on the scale and it's like, oh crap, I just undid everything I did the week before. The week before.
Thanks for bringing up the O's, by the way. Now I'm sad. This season's been a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to get off that topic because I'm not trying to depress people.
Right.
So I had minor news. I broke a big barrier, which was the 300 mark. I saw 299 on the scale for the first time in a while.
That's awesome.
And it felt nice.
Yeah.
It felt nice. Not going to lie. I know it's just a number, but it's a milestone number. So, and then I got down to 297. Mm-hmm. So it went down from there. And I keep checking because I'm like, oh man, it's going to creep back up. It's going to go back up over it. So now it's like a paranoia thing, right?
Yeah. You're probably not going to feel like good until you get out of like the 290s.
Probably. Right.
Like once you get to like 280,
yeah.
Then you're going to be like, okay, now I'm feeling better.
I am worried though that if I start to dip below that 3, and this is going to sound stupid. Worried that I'm going to feel cocky and start eating shit and start bumping back up against it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's one of the problems for me growing up. Whenever something good happened, it was let's go out to eat, and like let's just keep pouring on the dopamine. Or when something bad happened, oh, let's go out to eat. This will make you feel better. Mm-hmm. To get some dopamine in that, and you don't want to like react to your like for me, and I would do this. I'm like, oh, I just hit a milestone. Like when I broke into the 3s, I was like, hey, this is great. Let's celebrate with a 12-pack of Guinness Blonde, right. Which goes directly against the mission. Right. So I think I'm not sure if you do that. I am certainly guilty of that. Like I know I do that.
Yep, 100%. Like, oh, let's go get a cupcake. Or let's go get ice cream.
Yeah.
Because we hit this milestone. It's like, shit, I need another reward to substitute for that, but I don't really have anything else that I'm into, right? So I got there. I haven't gone back over 3, so it's been about a week and a half or so, roughly. But I'm using the GLP one. I started off at 350. That was my high number. Got down to about, I got all the way down to 303 before the GLP one. That was just eating mostly meat, cutting a lot of carbs out. And then I bumped back up to 323. And that's when I went on to the GLP one. So for the GLP one, I'm down to about 25. Overall, 53. The 53 sounds like a big number, and it is. I'm not. My doctor, I saw him the other day, and he's like, "You realize that's a significant amount, right?" I was like, "I know, but." He's like, "No, but. Stop with the but. You got down here." Yeah. And I'm like, "No, I know, but no, stop saying but."
Yeah.
And so we kind of talked about what the next goal was. 275 is the next goal. And we kind of got a little ahead of ourselves as far as thinking, what is the ultimate goal? And I said, well, and this is where I think everyone should do a body composition scale test or whatever. It's not a test, but you go on there, you put your bare feet are on these metal things, your hands are on metal, on a scale. So it's taking your weight, but it's also sending signals through your body to find out what you're composed of.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in about a year, but I was at 198 pounds of bones, muscle, organs, tissue, whatever. Basically, all the stuff that has to be there.
So to be at 0% body fat, you'd weigh
198.
Okay.
Which is never happening.
Right.
Let's not go. I'm not going down that.
Unless you're 22.
Correct. And pumping, I'm like literally working out 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that shit. Bodybuilders are 8% body fat. Yeah. So, and I'm not getting to that either.
And they starve themselves to get there.
Yeah.
Like that, they're,
right.
They're going, after the show, they're back to, they're not quite as shredded.
If I got to 240, that would be 20% body fat.
Okay.
I don't think I'm getting to that. 20% body fat is not a whole lot of fat.
Right.
For example, like right now, at 297, I'm essentially 33% body fat.
Is that considered morbidly obese?
Still, yeah.
Okay. So let's just drop the morbid.
Well,
let's get to just
I guess
standard rate obese.
Well, I think technically, if I was 198, I would be considered obese.
Well, by the dumb chart.
Yes.
Alex Ovechkin is, I forgot to say his full name. Number one NHL leading goal scorer, Alex Ovechkin, is considered morbidly obese at his weight.
By the way, for all that wondered, yes, I did pay that. I paid out to both Mike and Josh. Their bank accounts are $5 richer. At least I think I did. I'm pretty sure. I Venmo'd it to you.
If not, I'm not. It's $5.
No, I am checking when we're done with this.
I would like my $5 in dimes, please.
I'm not squelching on bets, so I will make sure. I was going to pay Josh in pennies. He was like, "No." He's like, "You were not allowed to pay pennies." I was like, no, we didn't.
We didn't specify.
We did not specify that at the beginning.
I made a bet with a buddy once, and he specified it was $5. I think it was a $5, something small like that. So my dad had gotten back from Canada and had $5 Canadian, which aren't worth as much as. So I gave him $5 Canadian, and he was like, "What's this?" I was like, $5. He said, "I said, you didn't specify the nation from which the currency was to come from. You said dollars. Here's $5."
That's right. I do have a $5 Canadian bill. I should probably give it to him.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be hysterical.
It's Canada's sport, right?
It is.
Actually, box lacrosse is Canada's sport. Or, lacrosse is their national sport. But,
yeah. So, trying to think of the right word. So part of my, and this is just the way I'm wired. Part of me is like, oh, there's so much. I'm only halfway there. So much more to go. Because 250 seems to be the ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. I think I would have to do some significant lifestyle modifications, which I don't think are ever going to happen to get below 250. But then again, you lose 100 pounds. The whole goal behind this was to get extra years.
Yeah.
Right? Losing 100 pounds will significantly add years, assuming nothing else happens. I'm not saying cancer can't come around and take me out, but or a bus or a train. Not that I plan on crossing the street with buses and trains coming around. I look twice more than once. So
yeah.
But basically say, hey, we can go out any type of way, right?
Yeah.
But hopefully, through natural causes, by losing this amount of weight, years have been gained. It's funny though, like I still see the same thing, and I don't know if that's going to change. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the 40 years of being the overweight person, adult.
Yeah,
I don't think change in your brain. It doesn't change. At least it hasn't.
Yeah.
Now maybe it will, but the skeptic in me is still there. The cynic is still there. You might have been down this road before. You always get it back. Bullshit.
And that plays into my head too. But I think a lot of that comes from all the. I don't want to sound too hippy dippy here, but all the negative energy that you absorb. Because really, despite the freaking body positivity movement, which in its general aspect, I see as like, don't hate yourself because of how you were born.
Correct.
I see benefits to that. What I don't see benefits to is healthy at any weight. No, that's bullshit.
Right.
That's fucking bullshit. And the people that are pushing that shit are hurting people by doing it. Mm-hmm. So, but the last acceptable way to discriminate against is by people based on weight. So, if you go and like say there's a Facebook post or an Instagram or something, social media post about someone that didn't fit into an airplane seat or how airplane seats are small, it is amazing the number of people who'll be like, fatty should lose weight, blah, 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 blah. Coach seats are uncomfortable for everyone. Mm-hmm. Who goes and sits like, hey, we're going to give you a free upgrade to first. No, Coach is fine. Like, no one goes and says, you know what, I sat on this Spirit flight and everyone was really well behaved and the seats were super comfortable. No one has ever said that.
You want to know some measurements? Most economy seats are 17 to 18 inches wide.
Yeah. And some have like a pathetic 26-inch seat pitch, which is the distance between the back of the seat in front of you and the front of the seat you're in.
Well, the reason why I bring up that 17 to 18-inch number, do you remember that name? You remember the Baby Got Back song?
Yeah.
Do you remember the numbers?
What was it?
36, 24, 36.
Yeah.
Well, 24. Well, actually, 36 is the butt size.
Yeah.
24 is the
waist.
Yeah. They're both wider than 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Is that I don't know if those numbers are big or small. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you sizes of women. I don't know. I just use that because Sir Mix-a-Lot told me that's what women have.
Yeah.
Okay. But even if you're at 20 inches,
that's still 3 inches over capacity.
Now, is that around?
Yeah, so it's not.
So I don't really
in the Sir Mix-a-Lot song, because it's bosom, waist, hips.
Yeah.
They weren't 36 inches wide.
Right. No,
it's a 36-inch circumference. But depending on how that is arranged, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So it's not a 36-inch sphere, perfect circle. It's going to be more of an ovoid, ellipse type shape. So it's going to be wider. So depending upon the depth, but still, 17 inches is not big.
No, it's not.
18 inches is not big.
No.
Either. So take a ruler, a regular 12-inch ruler, add 6 inches to it. That's how wide those assholes on the airlines are giving you. Mm-hmm. But people will defend them saying, buy 2 seats, fatty. Like, okay, but say you wouldn't use any other physical characteristic. If you posted something like that, people would be like, find out where he works and take his job and all this other crap. Mm-hmm. But that, everyone's yucking it up. And most of those motherfuckers, they're not studs. They're not pro athletes. Mm-hmm. They're not swimsuit models. They're freaking doughy fatties like the rest of us. But it's the last acceptable one. So coming back around, like all that negative energy you carry has to come from that. Everyone's always called like Big Mike, big this, big that. So take your least desirable physical character, and then that's what you're known by. So I think people who haven't experienced it don't get it. Mm-hmm. And they think, oh, well, it's a choice. Well, it's a culmination of choices, but it's not one of those things where, like, I woke up today and decided to put on my fat suit.
Right. And
just be a fat guy. And it's not super easy to lose. No one that's done it before can attest to. There was a trainer. He wrote a book called Fit to Fat to Fit. Mm-hmm. And he was like, why aren't people picking up I'm telling them stuff that's going to work. They don't do it. So he intentionally gained a ton of weight and then lost it again. So he could be a better trainer and say like, oh, now I've done it. So I know. Book's really good. He wrote another one, I think, but it kind of goes through that whole, it made him better at what he does because now he can go and say, hey, I've done it. And this is why telling you to do, 25 lunges for 3 sets doesn't work because it really sucks when you're carrying that much extra weight.
Yeah, and I also think there's 2 different types of heavy. There's genetic heavy. And so, and I'm not saying this to put you or me down.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you lose 100+ pounds from this, your shoulders are your shoulders.
Yeah, you can't lose height. You can't lose
your bones are your bones.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be a certain width regardless. Yeah. Now, are you going to be narrower from now? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But are you going to be 17 inches wide?
No.
No. No amount of weight loss is ever going to get you or me to 17 inches fucking wide at our shoulders.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to spill over onto the seat to the right or left of us. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is. That's not weight loss. That's my bones.
Yeah.
I can't, unless I'm doing some shoulder shaving, which I don't plan on fucking doing. It's going to be, your hip bones are your hip bones.
Yeah.
They stick out a certain amount. Mm-hmm. You can't fix that.
Right.
And there's nothing to fix. It's kind of like I've even seen some dudes that are like 4'7" or 5'7", weightlifter dudes. Mm-hmm. They're in shape.
Yeah.
But they're fucking wide.
Yeah. Look at Joey Swole.
Right.
Now, I don't know how tall Joey Swole is, but that dude's enormous.
He would if he got on a plane, he'd probably take up a seat and a half.
Yeah.
Just arm to arm.
Yeah.
Maybe not. His butt could probably fit in the seat.
Yeah.
But that's only half the seat.
Yeah, but no one's going to tell Joey Swole buy another seat, fatty.
No, and that's the thing. Look, that's, I guess it's a separate topic, right? But it does go into the mentality of, like you said, though, something you can't change or would want to change. Mm-hmm. But there's an industry standard out there that says, well, you either fit or you don't. And then there's people out there saying, fuck you, fit.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. So, whenever they put it on social media, they're always picking the worst examples of it, right? And rather than reaching out to that person to say, hey, look, this is unhealthy. Don't feel bad. I'm going to help you for free.
Yeah.
And help the person. Now, don't get me wrong. Most people, they have to make a living, right? The trainers have to make a living. Nutritionists have to make I understand that.
Yeah.
But there are certain people, for example, and I'm not trying to like put her name out there because I feel like she's probably helped a lot of people. But like someone like Jillian Michaels, who did Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
And Bob, whatever. Okay. They're millionaires now.
Oh, yeah. Jillian Michaels was just on Rogan.
Well, she's got her own podcast. Yeah. She's been on Rogan. She goes on Tim Dillon. She's in that sphere. Mm-hmm. She's gotten in the comedian sphere without being a comedian.
Yeah.
She's probably at a point in her life now. She's made the money. She's living off residuals. She makes apparent money on speaking fee, whatever it is. She could probably help with one-on-one coaching and seeing it through from start to finish. She could probably help 10 people per year. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But it means a lot to those 10 people.
Yeah.
And just by being there for them. Yeah, it doesn't have to be in person. Not with today's technology.
Yeah.
You could be on FaceTime training a person. Mm-hmm. Shoot, Peloton made a business out of it.
Yeah.
Where all the trainers are through a screen.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, I do think that's where technology can really, really help things out. Where for people that are severely and morbidly obese, there needs to be a movement in this country that says, we're not going to laugh at those people anymore. We're going to help them.
Yeah. Because
someone who's 500 or 600 pounds, they don't need trust me.
They feel bad enough already.
Inside, they feel bad enough.
Yeah.
Rather than do that, let's help them.
Yeah.
Like, you'll make much more of an impact helping that person than the 3 seconds of fame you got for making fun of them.
Yeah.
But people don't see it that way.
No. Because they want the 3 seconds of fame.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, basically what I'm saying is, like, okay, let's say Jillian doesn't want to personally train these people. Okay. Pay for the Peloton membership. And then call them every day.
Mm-hmm.
And just say, hey, did you do your workout today?
Yeah.
Here's the meal plan. Or I'm going to buy you the meal plan for Factor. Mm-hmm. Or whatever meal plan there is that helps them eat healthy. This is what you're going to eat. It gets delivered to your door, heat it up, eat it. That's your lunch.
Yeah.
That's your dinner. Stick with it. Mm-hmm. Call them every day. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
And maybe, like, kind of like, not that I'm saying force the issue, right? I'm not saying that. Everyone has their own free will. But let's try and help people rather than just laugh at them.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make more of an impact on that person. I don't know. Maybe, look, I'm probably living in some utopian world in my brain, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think some people, of course, I mean, the internet sucks, right? People can do better.
Yeah.
But I think it's time for people to take action on it. I mean, you got a guy now in RFK Jr. who's going to try and get the food healthier in this country. And I think we can get in a whole political rant about that bullshit and how, like, all of a sudden Democrats are against healthy shit. Like, you have Michelle Obama had her healthy movement.
Yeah.
That you got a guy now who's willing to go at the root cause of the unhealthy shit in our food that Europe's been banning for fucking years.
Yeah.
Including the ingredients in something as simple as fucking bread.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that shit. Now you got a guy who's willing to stand up to some of these industries and say, hey, look, get the shit out of our food, you assholes.
Right.
And now all of a sudden now he's telling you how to live.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess what? You finally got the other side on your side about this, and all you're going to do, and just for political points, you're going to try and fucking just do what you're going to. I can't.
Anti-vaxxer.
This is why I can't stand this fucking shit.
Yeah.
And like it drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah, and it just goes for them. It's the solution's not they're not looking for a solution. They just want the issue.
Well, so he was on the Hill, and he was talking to Patty Murray. Patty Murray is a Democrat out of Washington State. She's been there for 30 fucking years. And she was trying to get some gotcha questions and all this bullshit. And RFK Jr. and the media painted him as crazy. He points his finger at her and goes, "You've been here for 32 years and you haven't done anything to help this country get healthier. Mm-hmm. You haven't done anything to regulate this crap out of our food." And that's
the strong indictment.
But the funny thing is, like, they're trying to paint him as an asshole for it. No. He's holding the person calling him out for doing something bad accountable for over 30 years never have done any of it.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a Republican person that called him out, which I can't believe there isn't.
Yeah.
Because he is a fucking Democrat from a Democrat establishment family.
Yeah. Like the Democrat establishment family.
They're not calling him out. So because he's in a Republican administration, you're going to try and get gotcha questions on him. Riddle me that, fucking Batman. I don't understand this shit. I don't fucking understand these people.
Yeah.
But at least Bobby's trying to do something.
Yeah.
Call him whatever you want on the other shit. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that can help a lot of people in this country by getting the shit out of the food. There's this guy on Instagram, Jabez something. The guy was a 300-pounder and lost weight by eating differently.
Uh-huh.
And he looks at it, his Instagram videos are selling his book for the most part. But before he does the sales pitch, he goes, picks out some. He goes, I used to love these things. He went like oatmeal cream pies. Love them.
My jam.
But he goes and looks at the ingredients. He goes, enriched white flour or rich wheat flour. Or he goes, this enrichment thing. And he goes to explain the enrichment and how it takes out certain things. And then he goes, you see the riboflavin, thiamine. He goes, these are all things they've added back in because they took out the natural part
Uh-huh.
so that they can add this stuff back in so it has a longer shelf life. He goes, this is what's making us fat. These food companies are making us fat.
Yeah.
Like an oatmeal cream pie by itself probably wouldn't be that harmful.
Right.
But because they're processing the process,
Yeah.
it's more harmful to us. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And so he also, I think the first ingredient in an oatmeal cream pie is corn syrup. And he said corn syrup makes us fat.
Yeah.
He goes, it's different than regular sugar. So you got corn syrup. Second ingredient, enriched, bleached, enhanced flour, whatever the words were, making us fat. That's another one, making us fat. All these additive ingredients that look like vitamins are also helping to make us fat. Like this, basically, this product doesn't need to be made like this.
Yeah.
The food companies are doing it on purpose because it's better for their bottom line.
Yeah.
They don't give two shits about you.
No. They you're an income stream.
Correct. They could sell the same amount of shit and not poison us.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah. Because if you think oatmeal cream pie, you think an oatmeal cookie, right? Soft oatmeal cookie. Mm-hmm. Which if you were to make your own oatmeal cookies, which I've done, the ingredients are pretty much oatmeal, butter, sugar, brown sugar, a little bit of vanilla, mix that all up, make the cookie batter, the cookie dough, and then cream, which would be probably whipped cream, which to make that would be heavy whipping cream. And then if you wanted to make it sweeter, just add some, I'd always add powdered sugar to it because it dissolves better in the heavy cream.
There's agave, you can put honey in it, you
yeah,
get any sweetener.
Yeah, put that on there.
That's natural.
Yeah, and those are all natural ingredients, but that oatmeal cream pie would have to be refrigerated. It wouldn't last forever on the shelf. You couldn't make it in Illinois or wherever the hell they make it and put it on a truck, an unrefrigerated truck, and drive it and then put it on a shelf, and it's not shelf stable. So, and the thing is, the one that I described making is probably tastes 10 times better than is going to make you want to eat 16 more of them afterwards. Mm-hmm. But there's no profit in that, in making a real one. So
there's one, and we're running a little bit long, but there's a local bakery here, and they do gluten-free stuff. So, and they sell their stuff, they package it, but they're made at the bakery, and then they're shipped only locally.
Yeah.
And they're gluten-free. So my wife got one.
Yeah.
Tasted great. Tasted fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. I mean, so it can be done.
Yeah.
Just not by big conglomerates that want to poison us.
Right.
So. All right, so that's the health update. I think we hit on most everything. I'm sure we'll come back into this about 3 weeks or so,
Yeah.
3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it more, see how Mike's doing.
And if anyone who is considering the procedure I had or one like it, feel free to shoot a DM. I promise I'll start checking it. But and whatever questions you have about it, let me know, and I'll be straight up with you. I'm not going to, be an evangelist for this procedure, but so far it's been pretty good. So if you want to just, see how to get started or talk about it, just shoot a DM and we'll get back to you.
The email is contact@drivewaybeerspodcast.com. All of our social media stuff, Facebook, we have instant messages there. I know Mike checks those. We also have Instagram. If he's not seen them, I'll forward it to him. So you can contact us anyway that way. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck, techmd.com. That's TACMD.com for all your real estate needs. Having fun out in Las Vegas, golfing with his grandma. He also was on a GLP-1. He lost some weight with that too. We should probably have him in on that just to talk about that. But want to thank him for all his support throughout the not only last year, this year. And we'll see you next week.